That's it. I'm starting the alt-left pipeline. So if you like football, hey, what's up? Also, everyone should have healthcare.
So radical, so alternative. I'm into it. So self-proclaimed progressive and leftist gym bros are finally responding to the ever-growing alt-right pipeline with their own to sway younger viewers towards empathy and critical thinking. So for years, the alt-right pipeline has successfully targeted young men and women using a strategy in which online creators use seemingly harmless content to gradually pull viewers towards more extreme ideas. These videos often exist in the world of fitness and gaming or self-improvement, allowing them to reel in vulnerable and impressionable young viewers with their reach amplified by social media algorithms. So here's an example of the progression of influencers that are part of the pipeline. You take a look there. So first we have mainstream figures like Joe Rogan, and they serve as gateway content, encouraging viewers to question conventional narratives. Then you have self-help and masculinity influencers like Jordan Peterson, who offer pseudo-intellectual frameworks for understanding social issues. Then you have more overtly political commentators, and they begin introducing more explicit ideological content. And then you have figures like Andrew Tate, who present radical views packaged with lifestyle aspirations. You gotta have the Lambo in the background, right? So obviously the pipeline can then move towards espousing even more extreme ideas like, for example, aggressive misogyny and racism. So it's insidious and it relies largely on fear mongering and the nurturing of a shared hatred, which is part of why the left has failed to create anything that matches the success of this pipeline over the years, because there's nothing that people on the left hate so much the way that I guess like guys on the right hate women. I don't know. But now some TikTokers, especially the gym bros, are trying to finally change that. Let's take a look.
What's good? I heard we're starting the alt left. My name is Martin. I love to build muscle. You can call me a bodybuilder, power builder, whatever you want to call it. I love lifting heavy. I love using barbells. I love having empathy for other people. I love thinking critically about all situations, right? That's what we do around here. I support the Second Amendment, provided we use common sense gun legislation to make sure that kids stop dying in schools, because I think anybody that has a problem with that should never be taken seriously in any society. And I think anybody that thinks that's crazy is absolutely crazy. Because again, we think critically on this side, and we have empathy towards all humans, and we build muscle with science, and we use science for everything else too, because we're logical thinkers around here, not hypocrites.
Okay, so here is another example.
Hey, I heard we was out here doing the alt-left pipeline, so I like to work out, you know what I mean? That's a good thing that I like to do. Work on cars and stuff like that, do man-to-man things, get dirty and whatnot like that. I also think that abortion is healthcare, and everyone should have access to healthcare in general, up to and including things like that. Women aren't smaller men; they're their own individual people that should be have a lot of research done on them. Their body is a lot more complex than fellas is. Black liberation is required for the struggle. So if you're not directly interested in black liberation, then you're racist. That's an alt-left pipeline thing. We won't be free until all people are free. So as long as the United States is an imperialist power to other countries, Congo, Palestine, they're complicit in a genocide, then we're not going to get benefits at home. We're not going to get potholes fixed or, school lunch for children or anything of that nature, because they're being, inhumane to other humans. So just know that. But this is us. Y'all follow along if you want to.
I like it, so just know that. All right, so now part of the reason why the alt-right pipeline was so successful was because it was a gradual shift. It wasn't something that was fully laid out like these creators are doing, but still people love it and hope something comes of it. So one TikTok user said, liberal software on conservative hardware. I like it. And another TikToker said, I unironically think a bunch of buff men targeting gym and man content would sway a lot of people. Several people replied in agreement, noting that boys and young men are just more likely to listen to each other to other dudes telling them these things. So it's imperative that men speak out. So yeah, I think this is funny. I think I was nervous that it was going to be super cheesy, but I like how self-aware they are, and they're in on the joke. And I think you have to be whenever you're attempting something like this. Like whenever he said, "Oh, I heard we're doing the alt-left pipeline." Well, here I am. Here's how I feel, and I'm in the gym. Is this good? Is this working? Is this what you want? And it's true. Like we don't really have a whole lot of voices like that on the left to counter that. And I think it is just like very self-aware that they're like, oh, we'll just do our own pipeline. I think the obvious person though, like that comes to mind whenever we think of something like this is Hassan Piker. He is in those circles. He works out a lot. He's a gamer. He's all these things, and he's very, very leftist, as we know. And he speaks out. And also even Jackson. What are your thoughts on this, actually?
Well, I think that one, it's definitely great fun to go on and go in with it. But I think that the more the merrier. At the end of the day, like the reality of right-wing politics in this country and the alt-right pipeline is like 90% of their content has nothing to do with politics at all. It's they're talking about working out, they're talking about making money, and they're talking about girls and like how to date girls and how to make girls like you. And this type of content is very appealing to young men because that's primarily what young men are thinking about. Even if you are interested in politics, you trying to figure your life out. You in your early 20s, you still a kid. You don't know what the hell is going on out here. You have an idea, and you're looking for people who can give you those tools to help you live a confident life. So like, people like Ben Shapiro, for instance, like he overtly talks about policy, and people, as you said, may end up listening to Ben Shapiro. But at first they'll start off in these circles to where it's like, oh, you can bang a lot of chicks, but women suck. And then that leads them down, you know what I'm saying? Like into those negative policies. But the reality is that most younger men who are interested in me or who look up to me, before we even get to talking about things I've accomplished as an entrepreneur, they looking at the fact that I got 8-pack abs and that I'm a well-known ladies man. Like if it wasn't for that, like, I mean, if it wasn't for that, it's the truth though. Like that's often what brings them in. It's like, I saw that girl come up to you. I saw that, and then it's like, oh yeah. And then we start talking about life. We start talking about real things. But, if you're 23 years old, you might not be super caught up in like how much healthcare costs because you ain't paying for it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I think, we just need more allies, and you don't have to be like a super political commentator. But I think our generation and Gen Z has a good opportunity to just stand for good policy and not be a bunch of dorks while we do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think a big part of it is you don't get to define me. And so, however, meet the people where they are, define as you will. No one wing of any party should claim that they own that entire space. And yeah, if you reach people because chicks dig you. By the way, Jackson, my eyesight's not good, but I did see someone sneak into a room, the door open, and I saw someone sneak into the room very quickly. I don't want to put your business on blast. That was about an hour ago, and I was going to just leave it out, but I won't say anymore. But anyway, I just think, listen, you got to take back the narrative and the control. And if you're authentic, then the people will come. The people will come. I don't like sweat. I have an aversion to sweat. But other than that, works for me.
Yeah. I go to Hot Works. That's my gym. So there's a lot of sweat happening in there, but that's not relevant. So that's just something that I shared for no reason with you guys. But I will say, this is a good thing, I think, algorithmically, right? Because my husband is like a millennial white man, and even like he's not into any of these circles. Like he's a gamer, he works out, but he also like gardens a lot, So, but wow. He can just like be on the internet, and he gets fed all this weird like right-wing content all the time, and he'll show it to me, and I'm just like, oh my God, like it's like they really target people as certain demographics, and maybe now if there's something to counter all that targeting, that would be at least offer, a good counterbalance. So
every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.